What's up, everyone? My name is Edson Cardona, and I want to welcome you guys to the Let's Kick It series. On these episodes, we get the pleasure to be joined by professional athletes, get a little insight on their background and how they made it this far in their athletic careers. A conversation between athletes about their journeys leading them to success. I hope you guys enjoy. What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? My name is Edson Cardona, and I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Let's Kick It series. For all those who joined before, thank you for coming back. For those who are joining for the first time, welcome. In this episode, I have the pleasure to introduce one of my good friends from college, Jared Brownridge.
Tucker back out to Brownridge. Uh-oh, that's the one guy you don't want to leave open. Brownridge. Tucker into the lane, back out, Brownridge, it's good! Jared Brownridge on fire today! Back to Brownridge, step back three. Robinson back to Brownridge, wide open. Guess what? It's in again.
He was raised in Aurora, Illinois, played for the countless teams growing up, but a well-respected Chicago-based AAU team, the Illinois Wolves. Ended up going to Santa Clara University, where he was a number 2 Santa Clara all-time scorer leader in the WCC games as well. Played professionally in Italy straight out of college, and now 2 seasons in the G League, where he led the NBA in three-pointers and for the 2018-2019 season. So without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend, Jared. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, no, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And how's family? How's coronavirus treating you?
Everything's good, man. Just trying to make do with everything going on. A lot of chaos going on in the world, but just trying to find some balance, trying to find other things that keep me busy during this time.
No, man, I get it. There's a lot of things going on in the world with, everything. So I appreciate you taking your time, and I hope everyone's safe as well, your family. And I'm
sure.
Here, man. It's been a long time. It's been too long. So
I know. It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, so we'll get started. We'll get right to it. So where did your journey begin as an athlete, man?
Man, as an athlete, my journey probably began when I was a little kid. I remember when my parents bought me my first Tykes basketball hoop, the little plastic basketball hoops, and they put that out in the backyard, and I just started playing, and, I just kept shooting. I wanted to play every day. And, I go back and I watch the videos of that when I was a little kid, and that's kind of what inspires me today. But that's definitely where it all started. And ever since then, I've continued to play. As I got older, I continued to find teams to play on. And, even finding teams to play on when I was young, I realized that, from playing for so long since I was a kid, I got better and better that I got to the point where, I was playing on grades above me. It wasn't like I was just playing at my level. It was like I needed to go a level above to really find that true competition that I needed.
Yeah, so that's awesome because you knew exactly that basketball was going to be your passion. I mean, playing for so long, did you ever think, or where did you realize hey, this is no longer just fun and games, I can take this to maybe a higher level, the AAU team you started playing for? How was that transition from knowing, all right, so I can do this and I'm good at what I do, but now perfecting that craft to play, like you said, older and with better teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of sports, right? It's you play as a kid and you play for fun, because it's something to do, it's something to make you active. But eventually, once you get to that point where you're in high school and you realize that all those years of playing for fun, you turn out to be a really good player. Now you realize you have the opportunity to go play in college on scholarship. And then, if you're lucky enough to even play beyond college. So I think that's the beauty for all athletes. And I find that special. And I don't take the grind for granted. That's why I appreciate every athlete out there, no matter how far they went or how far they chose to go. I know that it took a lot of work to get there. But for me personally, it definitely started with the Illinois Wolves, like you mentioned. That was the Chicago-based AAU team that I played with. and they're a well-known team in the Chicago area. So for me to transition to that team, it was really for the exposure. Coming out of high school, I knew that I was a good player, but I was still kind of waiting to get those offers from different colleges. So when I made that jump to that team, it was kind of like everything took off from there because they're a well-run program with a well-run coach who I'm still friends with till this day. But just because they do things the right way, all the college coaches flock to them at every AAU tournament there is. So when I had my opportunity to play for them, that's when all the offers started coming in, and then was the point where I realized, okay, yeah, I'm probably going to be all right. I'm probably going to be able to get a scholarship and play in college.
No, that's great to see that. I mean, you got the opportunity to play for such a prestigious team. And like you said, getting to play there was where you got that recruitment and those looks. And how was that for you? Now, playing on that team and being at like a higher level, probably the highest level as youth, and then seeing and getting those looks like from colleges and like
Yeah.
your parents like also telling you like, hey, like this college wants you, or like how was that? Like how was that experience for you all in all, like getting those looks? Like I know as an athlete, I mean we all like to be told like, hey, you're good, this and that, but now that recruitment from college coaches, like how was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think my parents were really happy because they didn't have to pay any tuition, but they won't say that, but I think they're really happy because of that. But for me, it was a blessing because as a kid, you grow up, you see people getting these offers to go to college and play basketball. So that's what I always wanted, and I still remember to this day. I think when my first offer finally came in, I was in high school, so I think I was going to like a high school party or something like that, and to be with all my friends. And then the phone rang before I got to the house where we were having the party, and it was my AAU coach for the Illinois Wolves, and he called to tell me, Jared, you received your first scholarship offer, and I kind of just dropped. I didn't even want to go to the party. I kind of wanted to go to the party to still party, but at the same time, I just wanted to like, run around the street, run around the block because I was just so happy. But like you said, the moment that you start getting scholarship offers is a moment you can't explain because it reveals that somebody else wants you. They see value in you, and they think that you'll fit their program. So to know that I was wanted was a blessing. And so after about the first two, being happy and all, I think after that, then I kind of got down to business, and all the offers that came after that, it was kind of like, okay, cool. Let's see what else we can get. Let's keep getting better and better during this AAU circuit to try to reel in as many scholarships. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I just said, after scholarship one, scholarship two, I just got to that point where all the other scholarships that came in, it was just strictly business, and I wanted to get to a point where like, okay, let's try to reel as many as we can in, so that way we can finally make a decision.
No, I mean as an athlete, it's awesome to get that credit. You work so hard to do that sport that you love, the passion, and at the end of the day, getting that from college coaches and like you said, that exposure that you had, it's just great to have as an athlete. I mean,
Yeah.
you work so hard, and at the end of the day, that's what you work for. You want to get into a college, hopefully get a full ride, and like you said, you're blessed to have that. Not a lot of kids have that, and I mean, you balled out in college, which is great to see. And it goes on to my next question: like, what were the obstacles that you had as an athlete, even probably in the AAU team or as well in college once you transitioned to Santa Clara?
Yeah, well, I had obstacles starting with the Illinois Wolves, so I'll start there. When I transferred to that team, because they're such a well-known AAU team, of course they have all the players on the team are
Yeah.
really good, and I was kind of in that position of leaving my former AAU team because I needed to break out and get to a team that was going to be able to elevate me to get me to college. So in joining the Illinois Wolves, it wasn't like it was like, okay, Jared's on the team, he's the starting five. He's going to play ultimate. No, it wasn't like that at all. Everybody was a great player, and everybody has to earn their minutes. So it wasn't all glitz and glamour when I first got there. I remember, and I keep going back to this story even till this day. But I remember my first tournament with the Illinois Wolves. It was on at a place on the west side of Chicago where they hold the draft combine at, and I wasn't even close to getting the game. I'm talking about I was so far at the end of the bench that there were literally no more seats left. And I can't make this up, but I just go back to it every day. It's like I was literally sitting on the ground waiting to get in the game. There were people on the bench, but I was on the ground trying to get in the game. So to see that that's where I started at with the Illinois Wolves, but I proved to my coach that, I'm a valuable player. I know how to play the game the right way. I eventually, made it into the starting five. And now I'm one of the three or so players left on that team that is still playing basketball today. So that was definitely an obstacle for me. As I moved to college, I think the only obstacle was the same thing that I went through. I was like, okay, I kind of have to prove myself again. So that's the mindset I go into anything with. You got to prove yourself, Jared. Nothing is given to you. You got to earn it. So when I got to college, I kept that same mindset. I knew that I was now going to be playing with guys who are juniors and seniors that are much bigger, stronger, faster. So I came in there and I said, well, how can I handle this situation the right way? I can work my tail off, work as hard as I can. I can listen to the coaches and do what they tell me to do and figure out how I can get better as a player. And I can go all out in practices to show them that I really deserve to be given minutes to play an integral part in the team. And I think I really earned the respect when we came in over the summer. Right after I got out of high school, basketball players are they're kind of forced to be there over the summer, all summer. That's how it was at Santa Clara. It's like the basketball team had to be there all summer. So I got there and we had summer training. And I think I really proved to the coaches that I deserved to be there. And yes, was it hard? Yeah, for sure. And it was definitely an obstacle, with guys knocking you over because you're not strong enough yet. But I proved to them that I could do all the other things well. And I think that's what eventually led to me being able to start my freshman year and throughout my whole career.
Yeah, man, that's awesome to see. I mean, I applaud you as well because a lot of athletes go through all these ups and downs, and sometimes they can't make it on the other side. Athletes end up even not being mentally strong and lose their mind. They lose the track of where they want to go. And
Yeah.
then when you're in AAU, like you go to the best teams,
Mm-hmm.
But when you do get that opportunity, like you said, man, sitting on the not even on the bench, sitting on the floor, like you said, hey, once I get this opportunity, like I'm gonna put 150% and show the coach, like I'm here, like I'm Jared, like I
Exactly.
want to star, I'm gonna be one of the guys who keeps going and shows the coach, like, you're making a mistake for putting me on the floor.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's just a lot of stories that you can say, and I mean yours, thankfully, and I mean you're blessed to have had that opportunity because some don't even have it. But you
Yeah.
took the opportunity, and I mean you went with it. You weren't even playing, so now look at you. You're playing pro,
Yeah.
and it's nothing happened. But a lot of athletes go through a lot to make it where they are now.
Exactly. And, that's why, like I said earlier, I respect athletes so much. I respect you. I respect everybody. Everybody has to go through something in being an athlete. I remember times where you were hurt and you had to overcome your injuries. Teammates that I've played with, they were hurt. They had to overcome their injuries. Um, you know, Two of my closest friends at Santa Clara, Jarvis and Emmanuel, them having to go being a red shirt, so them having to get over that first year where they can't play, and then them coming out their sophomore year and finally being able to play. That took a lot of grit to get through that. So everybody has their own story, and that's why I just respect everybody's journey. Everybody's journey is different. You're going to go through different obstacles, but the fact that you're able to have a strong mindset, mental capacity to make it through and get over that hump, that's truly the joy, and that's truly why I enjoy every athlete.
Yeah, I mean all athletes, they have experiences where it makes or breaks them. So it's good to see that you're able to go out of that and succeed. And my next question is kind of transitioning now to your professional career. I mean, how would you know once you're in college, I mean, your senior year, the transition to finally like, hey, I can go pro? And how was that for you to end up playing in Italy as your first professional team?
Yeah, making that decision, I was deciding whether to stay in the States or whether to go overseas right after college. Um, Financially, it was better for me to go overseas. So that's why I wanted to start off going overseas, just to build that up for myself moving forward. But I will say my overseas journey was actually, it was a struggle. Um, being away, I did leave and go from Chicago to California, so that was a big jump. But to go from, Chicago to California, then from California all the way to Italy, I was like, man. So, it really hit me. Finally, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm out here now. So, I got to make the most of it. So that's definitely what I tried to do. But I would be lying if I said it was easy and I said, there was no issues. But it definitely got better towards the end. But it was definitely a good place to start my career because it was so hard. A lot of obstacles, like I just said. That is what makes everything that much easier for me now, going through that whole process. But after Italy, decided to stay in the States for the following 2 years. As you know, with the Delaware Bluecoats, who are the Philadelphia 76ers affiliate. Being in the States has been beautiful because, you're not as far from everything now. And, that your family members can come see you when they want to. But as far as the experience in the state goes, I had to prove myself again. And with the G League, people don't know there's guys that are in the NBA. They may not get a lot of time in the NBA, so therefore they spend a lot of their time in the G League. So you're playing with NBA guys. So getting minutes is not as easy as it once was in college or in high school. So you really have to prove it there. And I think I eventually got to the point, like I said, I just do things the right way, listen to the coaches, be the best person I can be, and eventually that lets me getting the credit I deserve, and me proving it on the offensive end and the defensive end really earned my coach's trust. And from that point on, I've been given, great playing time ever since then. So it's just the process stays the same at every level. It's just, the players get better at each level you get to. So you just kind of have to up your level.
Yeah, I mean, going from Europe to coming to the G League, I mean, playing now with guys who aren't getting as much playing time in NBA, but doesn't mean that they're not superstars as well. I mean,
exactly.
That team has, like you said, that credit to be able to go up and play in the highest level. So what kept you motivated throughout these past 2 seasons? I mean, like you said, it was hard. It's not you're there. Like people say, hey, you made it to the G League, you made it to Italy. Like it was, but like once you're already there, what keeps you motivated to be like, all right, I'm here, but I'm not letting nobody take my spot,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's probably three factors that I know for sure keep me motivated. The first being, my family and my support. My mom, my dad, who have followed me along this journey for the longest time now. My older sister, who used to play basketball and I looked after, and even my girlfriend Anjali, who's always there for me and rooting me on, and even on nights where I'm not feeling it as great about basketball, I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't. No. She puts it back into my head saying, this is just a bad day, blah blah blah. So just having those people in my life to keep me balanced, keep me level-headed, is definitely something that keeps me motivated. A second thing that keeps me, or catch highlights. They reach out to me. They tell me, Jared, good game, keep going. You're that close. So to hear those things from them is like another, makes me want to take it up to another level. It's like, wow, my friends and everybody who supports me really cares. They check in on me. So while, I would be doing them a disservice if I didn't go out there and give it my all. So definitely my friends for sure. And then third, this isn't I wouldn't say this is a thing that should really motivate people, but it kind of motivates me, is just really when you see the landscape of everybody that plays basketball or whatever sport you play, when you see somebody who you feel that you might be better than, but they've already given that opportunity that you're striving for, that honestly motivates me. And I know I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they got there. But when I know that I could be in the same position they are, that's like, okay, Jared, now I know that you're really that close. So that's another thing that really keeps me motivated and going and shooting for my goal.
Yeah, man. I mean, having that motivation day in and day out, I mean, doesn't take your dream away, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, some athletes, they have the dream, but they don't keep that discipline every day to go into training, stay hours late. Like I remember for you, I don't know when it was or who was talking when we had those speeches with all the athletes, but they brought up that you would be in the gym for like you know what I'm saying? And that there is where it starts. Like
Mm-hmm.
that see like, all right, this athlete really wants it, you know. This athlete's putting in the work to prove to himself at the end of the day, like, hey, I can make it all the way here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you're one step closer. I mean, it's my next question is what's next for you? Of course, I mean the big league, you know what I'm saying? So I can't wait to see you there. And like you said, you have all that support that just pushes you to be the best player, you know?
Yeah. For sure, man. Only thing that could be next for me, honestly, is the NBA. That's the goal, and it's really the goal because there's nothing past the NBA. You know what I mean? So, um, if I were to go with a lesser goal, I would say is to continue to play basketball um, until I don't have that joy or love for the game anymore, and I'm ready to retire from the game. Um, but other than that goal, the goal is to make it into the NBA, and the way the NBA does it through the G League, you're able to earn what they call a 10-day contract, which is where you've proven to be a standout player, and so they give you a 10-day contract to whatever team it may be, and you're with that NBA team for 10 days. So even that in itself, even though you're not particularly um, a long-term contract player, being a 10-day contract player is being an NBA player. So that's the goal for me, and something that I've written down multiple times, and that I want to continue to strive for. So we're going to keep pushing. Like I said, you can't predict the future, so I don't know where I'll be next season, especially with everything going on, or the season after that. You never know if I might go back overseas, but at the end of the day, whatever move I make, it's centered with knowing that my goal is to make it to the NBA. So going overseas doesn't stop you from getting a chance at the NBA. Staying in the States doesn't stop you from getting a chance at the NBA. So that's definitely my goal, and always will be my goal, is to see my name on the back of an NBA jersey. It doesn't matter which NBA team it is, but to see my name on the back of it, that's the dream that I've had in the back of my head since I was a little kid. So if I can get to a point where I've earned a jersey and I can frame it up in my house at the end of the day, I'll be smiling.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, we all can't wait for that to happen. So I know it's gonna happen. I mean, it's just a matter of time when your time is gonna come. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you could pick one team you wouldn't want to for, I'm gonna put you on the spot, man. Like,
Man,
what team would it be? Like, I mean, you would probably end up, I mean, signing with them. But which team would be like, damn, like, why you guys? You know?
oh man, that's tough, man. You put me in a tough position. Um, that's a great question, because it's a great question because I never thought about it, because I'd just be so happy to get chosen by any team. But if I had to choose one, man, who would it be? Let me think. Um,
I mean, we all know Chicago will be your dream team to play for. You know, that's the team, hometown, be home, and
Chicago and the Warriors would for sure be my top two teams that I would love to go play for. Um, I'd probably have to say,
I mean, it could be the weather. You don't want to be in that kind of weather, like
that's exactly what that's exactly what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the cold places, because I wouldn't want to.
you
If I could avoid the cold, I will. Um, so probably a place like Utah, maybe, um, or Detroit. Teams like those where it gets cold, and there's not as much going on as in if you're in another state like a Chicago or California, or anywhere that's a big city. So those might be a couple teams I would be like, oh man. But I for sure would go and put on that jersey. That's for sure.
No doubt, man. No doubt. On to my next question. So, who do you credit your success to? I mean, you spoke a little bit. You spoke a little bit about it with your family and stuff, but who can you really credit your success to and everything that you've done and done for, of course, yourself. At the end of the day, you want to prove.
Yeah. First and foremost, the man above. I've grown up going to church all the time, so having my parents instill that within inside of me has always taught me to put God first. Take God everywhere I go, and that's exactly what I do. Pray before every game. If I don't, there's never time that I don't, but say if I didn't, I wouldn't feel the same. I know for sure I wouldn't feel the same. So he's always the man, that I credit my success to, and him allowing me to be a healthy human being, to be able to even play the sport, and then him blessing me with the talent and skills to go along with that. Other than that, for sure, my parents. My mom has always provided me that moral support and always cheering me up in any way she can, always adding, sending me Bible verses and scriptures that I can read, at the perfect timing. That's just how mothers are. So I'm blessed to have her in my life. And then, of course, my father, who was actually the one to be in the gym with me. And once he realized that I truly loved the game of basketball, he was like, okay, if we love the game of basketball, we're going to have to go all out. We're going to have to do everything we can to get you to where you want to be. So, he was the one that was in the gym with me since I was a little kid, until I got to high school, to the point where I could finally take it on for myself and start having my own trainers and things of that nature. But, he knows it, but, I love him to this always, just because of the fact that he really pushed me to be the best player I could be. And even though he made me very upset and mad a lot of times, because he was just so hard on me, and I'd be tired and he'd be like, no, let's keep going, blah, blah, blah. So you went through that phase. Every kid goes through that phase where he's like telling their parents, oh my gosh, be quiet, or they may be yelling at you from the sideline. It's like, okay, I got it, blah, blah, blah. So I went through that whole experience, but it was a great experience, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. That's for sure.
No, yeah. Having that support, especially like you said, that faith that you have, you can always turn to God whenever you have a bad day or even a good day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even the family. A lot of athletes go abroad or do play in other cities, and, they don't have that. But those who do have it, they appreciate it because, like you said, they've always been there for you. They've had your back since day one, man.
Exactly.
Hours going into the gym with your dad and getting screamed at every day, even when you do good, you know what I'm saying? It's like it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. So it's always something.
There's always something. You got to perfect your craft a little bit, but that love that they have for us as athletes, as kids, as their kids, is just something that we are so grateful for, Mm-hmm. And so next question, what is the best, I don't know, best game you played in, or that one game where you can be or the moment where you took a shot, like a buzzer beater? I know it won't be when I beat you in a 3-point contest, malice, but hey, but you get out there a little bit, just let everyone know I beat you in a 3-point contest. But
yo, you need to stop lying about that story, man.
But what moment can you say, or when it was just something where, surreal moment?
Yeah, for sure. That game has to be when we played Arizona my junior year. We played them in SoCal at where was it? It was at Fullerton, and it was Thanksgiving, and we were playing, the primetime game in the evening. So, everybody's at home with their families for Thanksgiving, and everybody watches the sports that are on during that time. So our game was broadcasted during that time. And so that was a big thing in itself. But the fact that, that game was my first 40-point game ever. So I had 44 points that game, and we were playing a ranked Arizona team. So I think we went either one overtime or two overtimes. I can't remember. But that was definitely the biggest game for me. And it wasn't my breakout game because I had, other previous good games way before that. But that was the game where I've scored. that was the game where I've scored the most points. So that was definitely a game that I always look back on, and I'm like, wow, I was really able to do that, and do it against a team that was ranked. And something that was running through the back of my mind was like, man, just the history of Santa Clara University and going there. I came in there with the mindset like, man, Steve Nash went here. I can, follow after his footsteps, in my own path, but follow after his footsteps. And when we were going into that game, I was like, man, I remember when Steve Nash played Arizona in the NCAA tournament, and they beat Arizona, and that's a game that gets talked about, so much. So I went into that game and I was like, what if we beat Arizona, the ranked team? Maybe I could, our team could be, recognized just like his team was. I'm proud of my team. We definitely surprised Arizona, that's for sure. I don't think they expected that. But just having that big game is a credit to my teammates, them allowing me to do what I do, and them trusting me. If it wasn't for their trust, I wouldn't be put in a position to have a 40-point game. And the fact that they were able to play hard alongside of that is the reason why we were able to even have a chance against such a great team in Arizona. And then, of course, my coaches, them trusting me as well to take the shots that I do, even if it's a contested shot. You're like, what are you doing? No, they don't say any of that. They trusted me to do just that, and I think that's the reason why I was able to have such a big game, and that's the game that I look back on.
Yeah, and that's great to have, man. Those memories where you can be like, damn, I did that, and like
Mm-hmm.
that a motivation in itself, like remembering those times where even when you're down, like, all right, like I remember I did this. So now it's time to turn the page and grow from a game that you didn't do too well, or yeah, you had a good game, but it wasn't your best game. But you look back and be like, I've grown as a player and I did so much, so why stop now?
Exactly.
So what advice would you give to like the younger players who want to make it to the professional level? And what advice would you give yourself if you could, as a kid, like now, what advice would you give yourself about the journey you've taken?
Yeah, I mean, the advice I would give to younger kids is just enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, because it definitely is a journey. You're gonna have ups and downs, um, but you can't let that ever waver. The energy that you bring and the attitude and the effort that you bring into your sport.
Yeah,
You just have to recognize that that's the beauty of sports, is that there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and your job as an athlete is to figure out how to balance the two while you're still elevating your game, upwards. So, my my ultimate advice to them is, one, have a great work ethic. You know, your work ethic is where it all starts. If you're a player who is willing to put in the time, willing to sacrifice other things in order to be a good player, that's what's going to put you on top. If you're not, then it's probably going to be, a slippery slope for you as it pertains to whatever sports you play. But other than that, the work ethic and just understanding that there will be ups, there will be downs, and your job is to stay in the middle. Don't let something if something bad happens, don't let it bring your energy down. Don't let it bring your effort down. Don't let it bring your attitude down. Find a way to maintain that balance and stay in the middle and understand, okay, this is a part of the journey. And so you asked, what advice would I give my younger self? That's the same advice I would give. I think when I was younger, I wasn't told that. So when something bad happened, I just kind of let everything go out the window. I was like, well, who cares about my effort? Who cares about my attitude? And, I was just like, forget it. And then that spiraled and made things even worse. But now I'm at a point where obviously I'm older, I'm mature, and I understand how this thing goes. So when something bad happens or something doesn't go my way, I take a day to digest it, but I don't go crazy. And I come back the next day ready to work with that same energy same attitude and that same effort. And I think that's a main reason why I'm still playing today. For other athletes, not all, but there may be some who aren't able to handle the things that get thrown at them in life, as when it deals with their sport, whether it's sitting on the bench or not getting enough minutes and things of that nature. It might affect them. So I'm just trying to tell younger kids to take it for what it is and figure out how to make yourself better from that situation.
Yeah, I mean it's great to see that you're able to, regardless of all the things and all the obstacles, those moments where I'm like, I just want to quit. You didn't. At the end of the day, you stepped back on the basketball court and was, all right, time to take it in and go back at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you failed, but you get back up. And now you've gone, like you said, you're growing up now and an adult and realize, like, damn, I went through so much. And all these kids now that are growing up and trying to go into the professional level, it's not easy. And like you said, the journey's hard, but you got to make sure you enjoy it, because if you don't, you lose that passion for the sport.
Exactly. The whole thing is you got to enjoy it, and it gets hard. It gets to a point where you're playing for whatever level it is, and you're kind of like, oh, the coach is making me mad. He's taking the love away from me from the game. Don't ever let anybody take the love of the game away from you. That all comes from you. So I've seen people let coaches, the environment of the team take the energy, suck the energy out of them, and make them not want to play that sport anymore. So it's a good thing you brought that up. Just know that you control the love of the game yourself. So don't ever let anybody take that away from you.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. I really admire you too, man. I mean, there's a lot of things that you've done and a lot of records you've broken at Santa Clara, even now at the G League level, and it's great to see that you're doing great. You know what I'm saying? I've seen you grow as a player, as a freshman. We both came in university like trying to make a name for ourselves, and you did. You know what I'm saying? So I really thank you for taking your time, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure, man. I admire you, and I hope the best for you moving forward. However, soccer picks up. I know every sport is kind of out of sync right now with this coronavirus going on, but I hope the best for you. And even at Santa Clara University, seeing your work ethic, and I already knew the skills that you had just from seeing it. So definitely keep that up, man. It's always love from my end.
Yeah, man. Likewise. Much love, and thank you again. I hope to see you soon. And I got to beat you one more time in that 3-point contest, so we'll get that going soon.
Sounds good. Hey, next time I'm in California, we got it going.
All right, brother. Have a good one. Say hi to your family for me.
All right, we'll do. Later.
Well, thank you guys for those who've joined. I appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Enjoy. Have a good day, and see you guys next week.